boys and girls, today is our library day. It's Tuesday, so as usual, I have a book for you, and it's actually a new book. Well, I don't know if it's a new book in the world, but it's a new book in my world because I just ordered it over spring break, and I ordered it because I got so much feedback from you guys about the first book that I read, and so I thought I would get book 2. I actually don't know if it's book 2 or book 3. But I ordered another book in the series so that you could hear another version of Those Darn Squirrels. So this version is called Those Darn Squirrels Fly South. And again, it was written by Adam Rubin and it was illustrated by Daniel Silmeri. So, just based on the cover, it looked like those squirrels were up to no good again, so let's see what this one is all about. Old Man Fookwire lived at the edge of town in a beautiful forest full of birds and squirrels, but he was such a grump. He scolded fireflies for being too bright. He yelled at clouds for being too fluffy. And when the lilacs bloomed, he pinched his nose with the clothespin so he wouldn't have to smell their scent. Even for a grump like Fookwire, it had been a glorious summer. He'd spent most of his time painting the colorful birds that visited his backyard. Sometimes by accident, he painted a squirrel. Other times, the squirrels painted themselves. Then Fookwire would shake his old man fist and shout, "Those darn squirrels!" But now it was fall. The weather had turned crisp, the leaves had changed colors, and soon the birds would fly south for the winter. Fookwire would have to endure the long, cold winter months alone. We all know how much Mr. Fookwire hates when the birds go south. He gets really lonely. In his diary, in the picture, it says, "Dear diary, the birds are going to leave soon, and that makes me sad." Poor Mr. Fookwire. Well, not exactly alone. The squirrels would be there too. Normally, the squirrels spent winters playing ping pong, building ships and bottles, and knitting. But this year they had other plans. They were curious about where the birds went for winter vacation, so they decided to follow them. Now, not many people know this, but squirrels have a comprehensive understanding of aerodynamic engineering. They built gyrocopters from pine cones. They built gliders from leaves. They even built a zeppelin from an old shopping bag. Okay, so they are very creative. I see that. When the first frost arrived, the bonga birds took off, followed by the baba birds and the yaba birds. They circled the house, waved goodbye to Fookwire, and headed south. The flukel bird spent a few minutes scarfing up the last of the farfel seeds, then he took off too. Fookwire pouted as the sound of flapping wings faded into the distance. He turned to go inside and heard a rustling in the trees. A rustling followed by a whir. A whir followed by a whir followed by buzz. How mysterious. What could this be? And by the way, on that page, you'll notice, I think, I made quite a few mistakes. It was probably because I was speed reading and I was trying to get ahead so I could look at the picture. So I had to slow down, I had to go back and reread, but luckily I was paying attention, so when I got to parts and I said words, I thought to myself, wait, that word doesn't make sense. So my brain told me to go back and reread those parts again. It was the squirrels launching their flying machines one by one. Some of the aircraft flew straighter than others, but eventually they all flew up, up, and away from the harvest-colored treetops and into the cool blue autumn air. The old man could hardly believe his eyes. "Great googly moogly," he said. "It's a whole flock of flying squirrels!" I was just imagining how I would feel and what I would be thinking if I looked up into the sky and I saw this flock of flying squirrels in our neighborhood. Wouldn't that be so funny and unexpected? I don't know how I would feel. Maybe confused. It's definitely surprised. How would you feel? The squirrels followed the flugelbirds for days. They flew through the night. They flew through the rain. They even flew through turbulence. Finally, just when the squirrels thought they couldn't fly any longer, the flugelbirds swooped down and landed gracefully on a beach. The squirrels landed with a crunch. The beach was so warm and beautiful, and the squirrels were so happy to be done flying. They decided to have a fiesta. They went swimming and ate mangoes with salt and lime. They played the marimba and danced the merengue. The party lasted all night long. Over the next few weeks, the squirrels made themselves right at home. There were many new plants to snack on. There were also many new birds to see. There were cocoa birds, kiki birds, and caramba birds. There were too many birds to count. One of the birds reminded the squirrels of someone they knew. Zoom in a little closer so you can try to see. Who did one of these birds remind the squirrels of? You see this one over here? That's the one I'm thinking. I don't know if I'm right. I didn't read this far, but based on the picture, it looks like they're looking at this one thinking, who does that bird remind me of? Deep in the snowy woods, a strange noise woke Old Man Fookwire from his nap. It was coming from the telephone. He was getting a call. When he picked up the receiver, the operator asked if he would accept the charges for a long-distance call from the village of Santa Vaca. Then there was a chattering on the line. "Those darn squirrels!" shouted Fookwire. I think he's upset. They woke him from his sleep. He was in a deep, deep slumber, and they woke him. And he's normally grouchy, so I can imagine when he's sleepy, he's probably really grouchy. The old man missed the birds, and even though he would never admit it, he missed the squirrels too. So he decided to join them. Fookwire had a car that he kept under a tarp in a shed by the stream. He bought it in 1957 and had driven it only twice. He loaded it up with his easel, paints, and brushes, fixed himself a snack of cottage cheese with pepper, and hit the road. Then He drove 12 miles an hour all the way to Santa Vaca. The nice people behind him had plenty of time to admire his car. But they don't look very happy about it. Mackie, what do you think of that car? You're a car expert. What do you think of it? Finally, Fookwire arrived in the little village. He spotted the flugelbird flying overhead and followed him to the beach. When he got out of the car, the squirrels gave him a big hug. Maybe it was the nice weather. Maybe it was the beautiful scenery. Maybe it was the squirrels dancing in his pants. But for the first time in a very long time, the old man laughed. Sometimes you just need a really good vacation. I'd like to go on a vacation right now, in fact. Soon, Fookwire set up his easel and began to paint the local birds. Da-ba-do-bo, sang the Cocoa Bird. Ba-da-bo-bo, sang the Kiki Bird. Fookwire was overjoyed. The birds here are even more amazing than the birds back home, he exclaimed. Hurrumph, muttered the Flugelbird. Because, of course, the Flugelbird is one of the birds from home. The sun was very hot. Fookwire sweated, but he kept on painting. Fookwire sweltered, but he kept on painting. Then Fookwire slumped forward, face first, into his painting. The squirrels dragged the old man into the shade and gave him some water. He was as red as a bonga bird. It's not really funny that he passed out from being overheated, but the picture kind of made me laugh. You could say that he was dehydrated, probably. Tap your head if you know the word dehydrated. He needed some water for sure. On hot days, it's very important to drink lots and lots of water. He decided it was time to go home. The squirrels decided to go with him. They'd had a wonderful vacation, but after all, it was almost time for their annual snow fort building competition. They had one last snack of mango, then Fookwire waved goodbye to the birds, and they all piled into the car. Someone is yelling hello to me. I wonder who it is. The trip back home was much quicker for all of them. The squirrels drove most of the way. Those darn squirrels! So, just like last time, I have a challenge for you, an art challenge or a building challenge, a design challenge, whatever you want to call it. And the challenge that I have for you today is for you to design a flying machine, just like the squirrels did. So, I'll show you the picture again on this page. You can get some ideas from there. They used all sorts of things. I see they use pine cones. They have some shopping bags. It looks like they have a Coca-Cola bottle. They've got all sorts of things. And then there was another picture, which I will show you. Some here. They attached a flashlight so that they could see in the dark. Lots of interesting flying machines here. So, you're going to pretend that you're a squirrel and you're designing a flying machine for yourself as the squirrel. So, find anything that you can at home. You can build your flying machine if you want to. Or you can just draw a picture, or you can paint a picture of it, or you can make it on Seesaw. I don't care how or what you use to do this activity, but if you're interested in doing this challenge activity, I would love to see all of your flying machines. So after you've created one, make sure you post it onto Seesaw so we can all see what you came up with. Have fun! Hope you enjoyed the book. I have another one coming your way next week. All right.